Ladies and gentlemen, a new snapshot for Minecraft Java Edition 1.16, the Nether update, has been released. This is 20W14A coming at you with a new mob and a boatload of bug fixes and tweaks. My name is Sliced Slime. Let me take you on a guided tour through all the changes in this snapshot. Starting with that new mob, it is the Zoglin. They are zombified hoglins, the result of bringing a hoglin to the overworld. If a hoglin ends up in the overworld, it will convert to a zoglin after 15 seconds. They are hostile mobs with a maximum health of 40, just like hoglins, that is 20 hearts, and they never spawn naturally. They only ever spawn if a hoglin ends up in the overworld. They are beasts and they will attack just about everything else. They will attack every living being that they see. Unlike hoglins, you can't breed them, you can't feed them, and they don't care about warped fungus or anything else. They will just attack anything they see. If you kill a zoglin, then it will drop rotten flesh. Another related change, and nether portals. In other mob fixes, ocelots had stopped spawning, that is fixed in this version, and a bug where villagers could only pick up 4 stacks of items has been fixed. Striders have been adjusted as well in this version. Their speed while being ridden has been significantly increased so that they more closely resemble boat speeds. Boosting speed has also increased if you boost using a warped fungus on a stick. And that brings us to gameplay changes. 100 durability, and it only takes 1 durability damage per consume. Compasses can now be enchanted with Curse of Vanishing. The Lodestone compass had a bunch of visual problems where the needle didn't have an animation and would rapidly flicker between different places, especially if the lodestone was destroyed or not in the same dimension. Those have been fixed in this version. Using a compass on a lodestone didn't play a hand animation properly, initially use your offhand item. Compasses with custom enchantments didn't glint properly in the previous snapshot, that is fixed in this version. And if you place a compass in an item frame that was on the ceiling or on the ground, then it didn't point in the correct direction. That applied for both lodestone compasses and normal compasses, and both have been fixed in this version. Another fix for item frames. If you unloaded and reloaded a chunk with an item frame, then you couldn't interact with it. That has been fixed in this version. More gameplay fixes. Sometimes when you use the nether portal, you would end up spawning underneath the right location. If you're inside a block that had a low level of fluid, then you would still collide with it. That is fixed in this version. Piston arms were not properly deleted when the base of a pulsing piston was replaced with a different piston. That has been fixed in this version. A bunch of projectile related fixes too. Fireworks launched from upward facing dispensers no longer explode inside of the dispenser blocks. Speaking of fireworks, target detection of fireworks is now more reliable. Mountable mobs and vehicles could be shot by the rider's arrows. That has been fixed in this version. Shulker bullets now act as projectiles properly. When a tree grows and that affects the blocks next to it, like fences connecting and such, that will now properly trigger block updates. That means you can now detect that with an observer. The Highlight Players button in Spectator mode once again works for highlighting players other than yourself. Advancement changes in this version. There are a bunch of new mobs that are now required for the Monsters Hunted advancement and that trigger the Monster Hunter advancement. Those mobs are Elder Guardians, Ender Dragons, Endermites, Vexes, Withers, and Zoglins. User interface changes in this version. The main menu background is now a nether themed backdrop and the overlay gradient has been removed. The general statistics list is now alphabetically sorted, and the Ender Dragon hitboxes, if you switch the hitbox rendering on, are no longer off. That has been fixed in this version. And another generation problem where items would be found on the ground is for igloos, where you could sometimes find the brewing stand and flower pot contents dropped, even though it was also placed in the block. The new nether biomes now work properly in buffet worlds, and another round of misrotated blocks in a number of village structures have been fixed. Sound changes in this version. There are new sounds for the new zoglins, starting with a hoglin converting into a zoglin. Sounds for them idling, walking, being angry, attacking, hurting, and dying. The sound made by binding a compass to a lodestone was in the friendly creatures category. That has been fixed in this version. A large number of missing subtitles for various sounds have also been added in. The following sounds now have subtitles properly. Beacons activating, humming, power selection for a beacon and a beacon deactivating. Conduits activating, pulsing, attacking and deactivating. Using an enchanting table. Eyes of Enders popping, and the portal frames being filled with an Eye of Ender, the end portal opening, using shears to carve a putting and hissing, drowned ambient sounds while the drowned mob is in water, by players like sweeping attacks, strong attacks and knockbacks, all sounds made by striders, and zombies stomping on turtle eggs. The subtitles for opening and closing iron trapdoors were also switched. Technical changes in this version. Let's start with data fixed. The compass now has a new data field. In the previous snapshot, a lodestone position and lodestone dimension were added. There's now also a lodestone tracked data field. If you set the lodestone tracked field to 0, then the game will not be checking for a lodestone in the specified position. That means that you can use these fields to create a compass that points at any given location in the world. Attributes are now added to game registries, similar to items, sound events, and so on. That has a few impacts. That means that items and entities will no longer keep unknown attributes, and that the names of some attributes have been changed to meet resource location requirements. That means that they are now all lowercase and use underscores for word separation. You can see the full list on screen now. A couple of bug fix command to replace one piston with another piston base. A bug would cause all but not the invalid value. And of course there's a new entity in this version, it is Minecraft::Zoglin. For resource pack makers there are a few changes in this version too. The default and the format of the Hoglin, Piglin and zombified Piglin textures have all changed. Synchronous mode to increase reliability. If you find that this eats too much performance for your dedicated server, there's now a new server option in the server.properties file called sync chunk right, where you can turn this off. I would advise leaving it on by default though. And a fix has been done for a crash if you gave a firework star invalid data. Those are all the fixes and changes for Minecraft 20W14A. Remember, if you want to try this snapshot, that snapshots are experimental versions and can crash the game or even corrupt your world. If you load a world in this version, it can never be downgraded to a previous version again, so if you try this snapshot, do so on a backup of your world or on a separate test world. If you want to try this out but you don't know how to, then click on the link on the video right now. It will take you to a tutorial video about how to get and play the latest Minecraft snapshot. That was all I had for you this time. I hope you found this update video useful, and if you did, please help me out in return on this channel where I make update videos for every snapshot, pre-release or release of Minecraft. My name is Sly Slime, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time.